Yeah. So everyone, welcome back to the Bodybuilding Prospect podcast with myself, Alex and George. And the breeze today is going to be covering all things from how freaking tired we are at the minute, for multiple different reasons. George's partner, Zoe, coming up to her competitive season beginning this year. We're going to a lot of things about what George is doing. For example, like trial peaks, all the ins and outs and that. I barely know exactly what's going on, so George better dive into that heavily, and I'll probably be listening for a long time. Methods that he's learned over the last year to actually implement now and really dig into it. What else can we go through? There was the Boston Pro Show last weekend, the weekend just gone. What else?
Slowly catching up on that. But now, other than that, we've got just, there was a couple of questions that come in. Apologies to the listeners. I will be a bit more on point with my questions box in future. This was a last minute thing.
Yeah. We literally just messaged. I messaged him while I was in the gym and I was like, do you want to breeze tonight? And he was like, you read my mind. So it's good. It keeps us both up because we're knackered, only because my sleep is ruined. And we can also go into sleep and performance, I guess, at some point.
It's a good thing to talk about irregular sleep pattern and shift work.
Yeah.
Your circadian rhythm's constantly shifting and changing from nights to days. Yeah. And that has a massive impact. It slowly catches up. The drag eventually hits you, and which is exactly where you're at now.
Yeah, this one thing we'll quickly start and probably just go into is I just realised my name's still Natty Owl on this. But we can confirmed I have my bloods done lately. I'm no longer Natty Owl. We are all good. Just go into any markers that were out of play were mainly due to dehydration, the belief was. I did have questions on it because I was thinking, what if it wasn't dehydration that was causing this? But after everything is explained and what I was doing leading up to my bloods, trying to force hydration was actually causing myself to flush out more, so actually dehydrating myself when I was thinking I was hydrating myself. But yeah, all markers were good, considering we were at the peak push of my drug load that I've ever used. I was at, 13, 14 milligram per kilogram, I believe I was on, which is the highest I've ever run. Obviously all doses mainly clinical dose, apart from certain ones like Primobolan, which are pushed higher than I'd ever used before. And of course, peace of mind with Joe the whole time when using performance enhancements is always something I was after, and something that I definitely got from being with him. Any worries, any issues was always put at ease. And of course, towards the greater good of my bodybuilding career. But yeah, bloods were all good. Come down to a maintenance for 3 weeks because I secured, deficit finished. So deficit finished, did a 9-week deficit from the start of the year, no off-plan meal, 2,500 calories, 15K steps, all macros every day the same, nothing changed apart from a maintenance week. Got down to reasonably lean, was looking decent, which is nice to actually have a physique I was enjoying walking around in rather than being a fat slob, as most people know I'm off season. Then we have a big push to officially become a bodybuilder in the next year, which is extremely exciting.
It's very exciting stuff, man. But yeah, just rolling off of that thing you said about Primo. One of the interesting things about Primo that more people are becoming aware of is one of the things it was clinically trialed for was the treatment of breast cancer in females. And they used it up to 1.2 grams, so 1,200 milligrams. And I believe there was a couple where they went to 15. So technically you was still within the parameters of what they classed as safe for human use.
Oh yeah, for people's knowledge, obviously, everyone's curious about what people were running. I went up to, obviously, it went up in increments throughout my deficit. Of course, we're, as an enhanced athlete, we are looking at increments with the cycle throughout, looking at about 50 milligram or 100 milligram increase to the cycle every 2 weeks. We were looking at averaging probably 50 milligram a week, things were going up. Trenbolone was introduced a few weeks in, but Primo was the main factor that was rising. Testosterone always stayed the same at a base of 300 milligram, and it went up to 850 milligram. So the cycle in total was 300 milligram of testosterone, 100 milligram of Trenbolone, and 850 milligram of Primobolan. And when it got to the obviously people know with use of Primo being 100 milligram per mil for most, I was given the option to split my Primo between Masteron and Primo. Of course, Masteron commonly being 200 milligram per mil, it's half the amount of pins. Some people don't like pinning. I'm not a fan of it. But I did dominantly go I think normally like 500 milligram of Primo, and I did 350 of Masteron. Made it easier.
Did you notice the shift when you split it 50-50? Did you notice the physique?
Oh, do you know what I noticed more so? My hair started falling out. That's one thing I started noticing. Obviously, common side effect of Mastron can be hair thinning, which I was looking into straight away because I was like, I'm brushing my hair and I've got hair coming out.
Victor Black would slate you for that comment.
What, because of Mastron being what I said is common of
because of the DHT derivative often not a misconception, but like that people connected the dots wrong and assumed that because it was a DHT derivative, it was instantly.
What was the reason?
Hair loss is multifactorial, man. If you're going to lose your hair, you're going to use it from androgen use to a degree. That's what would potentially drive up one of their many vectors, but there's so many.
Yeah, but could it be coincidental that at that time I was noticing
potentially
some hair loss? Not noticeable visually, but the odd one or two that was coming out when I was like waxing my hair or something. I was like, oh.
There's also something I said about an energy deficit. Something that I've noticed anecdotally with myself. The minute I go back into a calorie surplus, my beard, boom, starts booming. The minute I'm in a deficit, it doesn't matter how many drugs I'm taking, these things don't grow.
The same has, because I haven't noticed any hair coming out now. Calories have gone back to maintenance. It's only been 2 weeks, but that's 2 weeks noticeable. It was as soon as anabolics change and, going back into a surplus, sorry, not surplus, but maintenance, it has not been noticed. So maybe, but it's all the fancy word conjecture, of like what is causing this. There is evidence to, support this and that as you love, but all I can see is hair's falling out, hair's now not. What's this? What's that? What are the unanswered questions?
Yeah. So many different reasons for that being a plausible thing. It's hard to pick one.
The positive of obviously Mastron was noticing. I always noticed, to be honest, my physique has a more solid feel to it. Obviously, George smiling. We do
no. I'm going to agree with you on this one.
Yeah, I noticed my biceps. Wake up in the morning and like you might feel your body at some point during the day. I was like, geez, it feels like concrete. And obviously when you're getting leaner, serrations almost appear deeper. Workouts are becoming amazing because you're getting leaner, you're more confident, you're walking around in a string of vest 90% of the time because you're feeling good how you're looking, which obviously has the positive effect on the mental side. Training was great. Everything's awesome. Yeah, I'm running the most gear I've ever ran. Training's going sick. I'm 100%. There's no worries. And it was all just wins. There was no negatives. Only me noticing some hair falling out, which I was a bit upset about. Because my dad is bald and he went bald at 24. I'm now 25. Could it be happening to me? Maybe. I may be looking at some receding, but for the time being, I'm still very full and wavy locked.
I think you should make the jump.
I can't, mate. My head's too big. You know that.
I've got a wham head. What are you about?
Yeah, but you've got a wham beard, so it makes it look even better.
Covers it.
And you have pretty eyes, so it makes them stand out.
Have you been looking at my YouTube comments?
What do they say? Your eyes? Is that what it is?
Mate, it's blown up. It's literally blown up. I've had so many people trolling me, fucking shit comments. It's funny as fuck. I love reading them, so I find them funny.
I need to look at these.
And most of them are sat there saying about looking like Ragnar Lothbrok from Vikings. And it's because it's not just the beard, it's the eyes apparently that do it.
Yeah, because your eyes are quite bright as well. Yeah. So
that's weird that you said that, man.
Yeah. You do have nice eyes, George.
No, I think darling.
We know there's secret love here.
But no, the Mastron thing, I've had this conversation. I literally had this chat with Joe because as much as there's no like research to back that there's any real manipulations with fluid when you use Mastron, there's no reason for it to give you this feeling that we always think we get harder when we use Mastron. Typical old school masting for a cutting cycle.
Yeah, cutting drugs. Yeah,
cutting drugs, whatever they are. But the bro in me still sees a difference. When I changed my Primo and split
without a doubt.
I woke up the next day and was like, okay, there's nothing to support it, but what we feel and experience still has to have some efficacy in what we do.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
And if there's that many people that are experiencing this exact same thing, surely there's something there. I've tried digging into it, man. I've tried for ages and I can't find anything. But
the hardest thing is to find bodybuilding evidence. Doesn't always come up, and it isn't always relatable when you're looking at information that is out there. The worst thing you do, people, is go onto a forum from over 5 years ago. It's probably the worst thing you could do. You can find apparently near enough every pro bodybuilder stack on there, which they probably never ever used. Funny enough, I was come across a guy in the gym today I've become like pally with. He's telling me about a coach he'd worked with. I'm not going to name the guy. He's bodybuilder. He's one of the GBO guys. And he told me his cycle that the guy had him running, and it was fucking monstrous, mate. It was unbelievable. Let me roll it off to you from what I remember. So you had 4 mil of testosterone. So I'm assuming that was because he was. See, there's the thing. As we get annoyed, I know you get annoyed just as I do. When people mention mil, it's not measured in mil. It's measured in milligrams. I bite my tongue, well, keep telling me. But obviously, most commonly it's 300 milligram per mil. Right? So we can assume that's 1200 milligrams.
We'll throw some assumptions at it. Come on.
Yeah, just to try and piece together what sort of milligram we were using, and it was 3 mil of trenbolone. I'm going to assume lowest dose being 200, so we're going to go with 600 milligram of trenbolone. So that equates to 1800 milligram already. Masteron,
Trenace is usually 100 meg per mil, isn't it?
I'm assuming it was an amphate. See, obviously, he didn't say the ester. You know, this is obviously with us. We'd say that off the bat, but he only mentioned what the actual compound was.
Yeah, let's go with the worst case scenario. It's more fun.
Yeah. So yeah, they didn't make it sound ridiculous. But either way, it was ridiculous. And then it was primobolan. He did mention the dose of primobolan, Mastron on top of that, and I believe that was all injectables. And then he said he was using Clen T3, and don't think you mentioned T4, but who knows what doses these were either. I can't imagine they were too high. But chances are you're looking at about 80 mcgs of Clen, maybe even 120, depends on what the guy liked to use. So you're probably looking at 2 to 2.5 grams of gear for a lifestyle client. This is, by the way. Yeah.
For a Gen Pop guy.
For someone that went to this guy and said, I've only ever used a little bit of testosterone before and some Mastron. That's it. And then his friend signed up also with this guy afterwards. And guess what? Copy and paste. Same cycle. Same cycle, same training. I'll mention the guy's name, obviously, off this because I'm not going to be that guy. I think we actually saw him compete at the GBO show. So he's very good. PCA winner, overall winner. Yeah. Tall guy.
Yeah,
that guy, which is mad. Because this guy is now coached by Neil Arms, who obviously is like 6-time Mr. Wales, PCA overall winner, will be an IFBB pro at some point. I know he's got some health stuff going on, which I'm sure people would find out if they do follow him. But he literally sent that to him, and he was like, "What the fuck?" Like, even he hasn't used that amount of anabolics before in his career of bodybuilding. He's a 260-pound lean off-season bodybuilder. And then when he shared this guy's progress when he joined Neil, that other coach slid in his DMs, "Oh, you want to be careful of this guy. He jumps coaches out and the other." And then he just sent him all the screenshots of what he'd sent this other guy of like the cycle, because they had some serious arguments apparently afterwards. It's like, Jesus, like, obviously, the coaching relationship can fall through sometimes. But if it ever goes that way, that's when the messages simply will just stop. You don't want to get into a back and forth because then you easily get copy and paste. Here's what this guy said to me once, which just mad. When I was like, I can't believe, like, how can you justify that? Like, how? And he didn't even mention getting his buds done once to this guy.
Lack of knowledge, ignorance, and arrogance. Combination of the three.
And then you throw the cookie cutter thing in the middle, and it's like, sweet, you just want his money then? Okay.
Yeah, that is, sadly, this is the industry, isn't it? This is, sucks to say it, but it's what we've got currently.
You may be a great bodybuilder, man, but good damn, that's bad practice. And if you do hear about, if you know who you are, and we're talking about, fuck me, mate, come on.
The same, it works both ways. Just because you're a bodybuilder does not mean you know what you're talking about when it actually comes to physique development. And just because you've got a degree, you're a scientist, doesn't mean you can apply your knowledge to bodybuilding.
Same as when guys try and overstretch their knowledge and talk, like you see guys talking off a script on videos about something they know nothing about, and it's so scripted and so monotone. It's like, you clearly don't know about this. That's why you'll never see me do a video on something, barely ever information on something I don't know about. I'm massive on mindset, attitude towards everything, because that's where I believe I specialize. Whereas if I was to try to talk about drugs straight off the bat, I guarantee I could have either George or Joe in my DMs and be like, hang on, mate, you may have intercepted this information a little bit differently. You may want to rework it. I need to make sure I'm past that point to start putting that out there, because I'd hate to be the guy who gets DM'd, gays, take this down, because you are so wrong. But it does happen. Like Joe was telling us a story of one of the doctors he used to consult with. Did he take the growth hormone thing Joe did? He, did a massive post, hours of research into it, did this huge informational post, and his mentor messaged him saying, take that down right now.
You're wrong.
It's like,
but that's a part of it, man. That's a part of learning. That's a part of the education. You got to. It becomes a little bit sketchy with our field and our practice, because if you make a mistake and you put out wrong knowledge, how many people with your your scope, your voice is getting to, how many of them are going to ingest that bad knowledge or wrong knowledge and then apply it? It could jeopardize someone's life here. But the fact that you have someone else above you, have a mentor educating, you have someone above you who knows their shit, who's earned the practice, done the, spent time in the trenches, hate to use that word, but they've earned the right to talk about what they talk about. You have them to teach you for a reason. That's why you invest. That's why you get someone there, so that they can call you on your bullshit when you're wrong before you put it out.
That's why I believe it's so good. Like, my circle stretches probably as far as George and Joe within like bodybuilding and who I go to for knowledge. But if that's all you need, it's all you need. I don't feel I need to go anywhere else to be like, oh, I'm curious on this, because I know I'm going to get one answer from here, one answer from here, and then I'm going to put those two together. 99% of the time, they'll be the same thing. And then that means I know what people's opinions I value is going to be the right answer. And if anyone's going to argue, it's sweet. You can come to me and then you're going to go to these two. You can argue with them, because I guarantee they'll fucking school you, unless you're a professor in bodybuilding for 10 plus years.
That's the one thing I was going to say about where you get your knowledge from. There's a few respected individuals around the world, and it's great. You have to like you just said, you go to them two alone. Yeah, you have to form a base of knowledge first. You have to form I've got a good understanding of this particular subject. Now, when I listen to these other 9 people that are respected within this field, I know enough to be able to piece bits together, and then you can start looking at other people, and you can look and go, I agree with that, I disagree with that, I'll take away from it, because everyone's got something you can take away from paper, from a video, from whatever they're putting out.
What I enjoyed most is one thing Joe said recently that stuck with me that I thoroughly enjoyed is, I was always worried Joe wanted me to become the evidence-based coach as Joe practices, as you go into, because he came out and he said, what I'm looking forward to is seeing how you piece together your own coaching from what we're doing. He said, I want you to take from this. You learned from Jason 3 years, you learned from Rob and then Jamie. You got them guys, you're going to come from me for like however long. And then you're going to piece together your own coaching and then put it out there. And I was like, wait, so you don't want me to just do what you're doing? He was like, nah. He's like, that's copy and pasting, I don't want you going out and saying, no, this is what Joe does, because it ain't what Joe does. Joe took it from someone else who took it from someone else, who took it from years of research, things like that. And I was like, that was actually quite nice to hear, because I was thinking, sweet, I don't have to become, this paper says it, so shut up. The paper does say it, but here's what I'm taking from it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's that part to it, and you put your own
application as well. When people get lost in it, people get lost in the evidence-based stuff. To be fair, I'll say his name again, Victor Black. Like, the way he kind of analyzes stuff, he brings it back to the point of saying, right, it's good that this study says X, Y, and Z, but firstly, was it done in humans or was it done in rats? Chances are most of which it's done in rats, which doesn't actually translate to humans. Okay. Secondly, if it is done in humans, what population was it done in? When we look at before the drug stuff, like just nutritional stuff, they're working with extreme populations, obese people, people with diabetes and stuff. It's hard to pick out bits of that apply to bodybuilders, because there's very limited research done on us as people. There is some good stuff coming out now, but you're digging through like the last 50, 60 years of papers and stuff, you're hard pushed to find stuff other than the fucking study to actually look at bodybuilders and physique athletes. So you can't take everything as gospel. You've got to be able to see the plausible application in what we do and connect it.
And like you say, it's so easy in this industry for someone to, you put a bit of information out there, and then you put yourself on the line. You are there. You are literally waiting for an opinion to come from either direction. From this guy, that guy, someone's going to agree. Some people's going to learn. Someone's going to disagree. Someone's going to cut you off and you don't even know about it. You know what I mean? That is the beauty of it all. There is a million ways to do this game. And I have loved learning every different part of it, and that's why I love digging into people's, like, when I find out someone's coached by someone, I'm like, what methods does he use? What's he training like? What's this like? How does he stack this? Like, what training methods? What intensifiers use? Like, what's your rep ranges? What's going on? What's going on? I do dig in. I do like to get a bit nosy, only because I like to see what other guys are doing. But let's be honest, all the coaches that we look at, it works.
Yeah.
And our methods mostly are related to being the same thing. It's mainly obviously diet and nutrition wise. It's only the fine tuning that really changes. But training itself, everyone's got their, the partial reps, intensifiers, What's it? Was it pre-exhaustion? What we spoke about a minute ago before we got on here, like blood flow restriction. Everyone's got their own favorites. Like Milos Sarachev still uses blood flow restriction in most of his athletes, and like hack squatting with the BFR bands on and things like that. And watch your legs blow up and all that sort of stuff. It's old school. Is there much evidence behind BFR? Have you looked into it?
I'm currently doing it for. You're not going to gain anything special out of it, I don't think, by doing it on a hack squat. Like
a sick pump. Do you remember that day we used it for arms? Oh my good God.
You get a pump, right? You get some acute cell swelling, but we don't know whether cell swelling directly attributes to.
And will it hold for muscle gain?
Right? We don't. It's usually there alongside muscle tissue breakdown, but we don't know if it separately does what we want. But what I've been doing with my calves recently is quite cool. So I will, like calf, for example, isn't like a quad muscle. It's made up of a lot of fast twitch fibers, so it recovers extremely quickly. We use them all fucking day. We walk all over the place. And most people that struggle to grow their calves, i.e. me, just don't do enough. Don't put enough through them. So I've exhausted myself I worked from like 3 sets per day, or even on rest days, up to like 6 sets per day, even on rest days on my last block. And it did work. I put half an inch on them. Sick.
Mm-hmm.
How can I improve that? Okay, you're going to do 10 sets, it becomes unfeasible. So what I started doing on my morning walk, I would BFR above the knee and cut the blood flow to the quad. And when I'm walking, I'm like over accentuating the walk and flexing and squeezing and contracting the calf. I walk like it looked like a prick, but I get about halfway around and I'm fucking burning at the calf. Right? And when you take that off, that's something. Oh, it feels amazing. But I'm just trying to find. Now I'm looking at niche ways to maybe get that 1% more, because I don't really have anywhere else in my day to fit it.
Yeah. And then the only other possible thing I can think of is more volume. But when you're doing 6 sets per day, including the rest day, where do you go from there? 7, 8, 9.
It becomes unfeasible. I'll be spending all day at my desk standing like doing this.
You'd be on a consult like, what's this guy doing? Is he bouncing on something on his chair? What's he doing?
Yeah. But no, that's it can apply like arm training and stuff like that. I can see why it might be.
I enjoyed it. I did enjoy for a one-off, I think. I'm not sure. Only because, once you took it off and all the blood rushed to the arm, and I had the most savage arm pump, I had to go take a picture of it in the car window just to see how it looked.
I remember that. I got that on my story, didn't I? If I could take it to business.
That was it.
Don't let that distract away from the principles of training. Progressive overload, maximum mechanical tension over time, and just keep progressively overloading it. That's the.
You don't need to shock the muscle, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, the most shock I get to a muscle is changing my exercise. That's kind of about it.
It's just DOMS, isn't it?
It's not something I preach, and I probably never will. What we go on to is the show next weekend.
Oh, fuck me, yeah. So we've got the first of 3 of Zoe's shows coming up. This one is Bournemouth. Is it Bournemouth?
Peterborough, isn't it?
Peterborough, that's the one. Sorry. Yeah, I'm going up and to the right.
Yeah.
So we've got Peterborough up first, PCA, and then the week after we're going to Manchester PCA. We were going to do the FitX in the middle, but they cancelled the show for some reason, so we jumped to the Manchester show. And then the third one, which is the final one, we was actually, the whole prep was for this third show. That was the plan. Is back at Bedford, PCA Bedford.
Is it a qualifier of any sort?
You can get a place at the finals.
Are you aiming to do the finals, or is it?
She got a place. So the thing we had spoke about from her last time competing, she got her place at the finals, and then because of everything that followed suit from that prep, hormonally everything we had to correct and fix, it meant that she had to then give up her time competing at the finals, which she done. She placed third at one of her second shows she'd ever done, and she got the place. And it was gutting for her. I know it was. So the goal originally was, let's just get you that place at that final, and let's actually make it there this time. Let's turn up. Let's do it. Let's tick that box. Whether that happens or not, I don't know.
I think it'll be
in the moment. I think it was like the emotional thing of having to give it up she was quite determined to. And now, who knows? She just said she wants to do these 3 shows, be better than she was last time in her physique, place better, and not really much more you can ask from that.
I'm very excited to go. It's going to be freaking sick. Not just for like the food front and post-show stuff. Obviously, seeing Zoe's off-season go from stacking on crazy amounts of muscle on a female frame to pulling it all off and seeing the most recent pictures. And obviously now the closer weeks get, you see the final look coming together. And it's cool in my position, like we spoke about before. They said to George, he was like for him and Zoe, because they're still at work, they're still getting the job done. For me, I'm in the complete different position, which I don't usually get to be in, is watching it all come together. I'm like, oh yeah, this is exciting, because I can get gassed. You know, I'm so excited to see what's happening. I don't want to go shouting out, oh, she's going to smash, she's going to win, but she is going to do well. I can fucking guarantee that. There is no way that physique does not fucking do well. Go on.
We spoke about this. It doesn't matter. Like, we always, the goal is always to you don't do anything without wanting to win, right? But bodybuilding doesn't work like that. We know that. No. It depends on what the judges what the look they like on the day. There's specific criteria to each category, but the majority look within a good lineup will always get the comparison vote. And so long as she looks the best she's ever looked, she's made significant improvements on what she did last time, and she has a fucking good time up there.
Yeah, I'm gonna be so loud. This is gonna be.
Now, you think you are? Last time she competed, she wasn't under me. But even then, I was booing. I was in tears. Yeah, this time, it's a little bit different. This time, it's a bit more personal. It's a bit more because it's me that's prepped it. Prepped her, not it. So yeah,
you meant the show. We know you didn't mean her. Yeah, don't worry. Just to cover your ass there.
So yeah, it's just it's gonna be mad.
It's gonna be. I know, I'm definitely gonna be there for George's support as well as Zoe's, because I know what this guy gets like when he's fucking focused on something, and I will be there to either leave him alone if he gets to that point, or like I said to him the other day, I was like, bro, just give me the food bags, give me the bag, give me the camera bag, and I'm just going to go sit down, and I'll see you in an hour. Like, why don't you go for a walk and sort your shit out? And also to give them both a fucking hug afterwards, because it's savage to see it all come together. It's going to be so sick, right?
You're going to have to be my communicator, because I'll be so like, people are talking.
I know.
Go over my head. I'll communicate for George, please.
It's going to be cool, not just for obviously in the competing front, but the people you meet there. There's going to be other guys and coaches and athletes that you followed, and who knows? Like, is Jeffrey coming? Is he coming to this one? Do you know?
I don't think he's got any athletes in this one. I think the first people he's got up are 2 bros. The first 2 coming up. The regional pro qualifier after. Yeah, this weekend. Yeah. 2 weeks time.
One of Rob's guys is competing this weekend. He was a guy I competed with as a fitness model. He's now men's physique, and he's got dense. I think he's about late 20s, maybe early 30s. It's not like IFBB pro level physique, but he's come up a long way. And one thing I was saying to him, we see his quad feathers like sticking out from underneath his board shorts, and I was like, that really upsets me that they don't come out. And he was like, trust me, when the time's right, I'll get them out. When you see a cool set of legs, you want to see them, out. But ham cramp. Oh, that's from
keep yourself hydrated.
That's from the ham curls today.
Take your taurine, kids.
Oh man! Enough there. I had a monster earlier. I thought that'd be enough. Don't need to supplement when it comes to an energy drink.
Oh my good god! We got some exciting, mate. To be fair, we got a good year of bodybuilding coming up.
It's so sick. Our progression, clients' progression, friends' progression, being able to watch a whole competitive season unfold again that you're not competing in, so you get to watch it, see who's going to have like their breakout year in the amateurs, the guys that you didn't even know, they're like 30-odd-year-old, they've been competing for years and you didn't even know who they were, and they're going to come out and get the job done. And you got just obviously it's a cult as it is, when it all comes together, it's like, it's fucking sick. Just if you love it, you love it.
It's just the so again, like you said about the social aspect of going to Zoe shows, like being able. The one thing I really enjoyed was just the last season, just getting to as many shows as physically as I could, just watching, talking to people. You just learn quite a lot, talking to judges like who aren't necessarily sat on the panel, but they are judges for the federation. So you can literally talk to them, sneaking backstage at like every show just because.
Yeah. And what we found out was we shouldn't have even paid for near enough any of the shows we went to, because we just walked in and I was like, man, this is piss take. You didn't even check my ticket or nothing. Like, I should have just.
Yeah.
Obviously, this one we haven't done that. We did pay, just so people do know, we did pay for our shows, but we just felt like at least ask me if I have my ticket rather than just let me walk. You know what I mean? I didn't even sneak in.
Oh man, that was funny. Oh yeah, no, you're not coming to the Complete Strength store, are you? No, you're working this weekend.
No, you're there this weekend, aren't you?
Yeah, so we'll be down there at the store representing Complete Strength because they're now Two Bros sponsor for this season.
Yeah, boy.
One of the biggest sponsors, anyway. I think see Jason that come back. Jason's back over because he's got. Jace might have some people competing at PCA.
Yeah, that he'd probably be there. It'd be cool to catch up with him. He sent me actually a really nice message the other day. Just like I was doing a story on talking about like coaches' progression and methods, and I was saying I will never have anything bad to say about what I did with Jace, because Jace took me from zero to hero in the free. Then he mentioned his name, but he just popped up to the story and he was like saying like it's all love. Like I said, I'm really happy to see how things are going with you and things like that. And I was like, that's cool. Didn't even know he even watched my stories or anything. But
well, that tells you because you didn't tag him or have any captions up. He actually listened to your story.
Yeah, I'm not that guy to be. Oh, my coach is. Yeah, the only thing I'll tag Joe in is progression photo, like something that I'm happy with, and you know if it does all right, if you get a reshare, so that's kind of how it goes. And then
once you make it to the you got to invite him for the collab. That's what I've realised. If
he invited me for one,
you've made it.
Yeah, that was the. It was like peak poor adherence last off season last year, and like peak weight looking like a potato to just before the deficit finished. What was I think 22 pounds lighter, and obviously the look was cleaner. The waist and midsection had come in and starting to look like I lift rather than, because I was being questioned as a power lifter genuinely. That's when I realised my off season got a bit much. You know, you're rocking about in a 2XL and it's fitting well snug, and someone was like, "Oh, you're getting into powerlifting, are you?" And I was like, "Jeez." I was like, "Is that how it looks?" Because I had a beard as well at the time, so obviously got like the big fat face with the beard and just looking like a lump, being out of breath, just walking down the corridor, that sort of stuff. But yeah, that's when I think I realised that the off season did get a bit too chunky, should we say?
It was. It's a hard one for you, man. It's not. It wasn't like it was. I've seen a lot worse. I've seen a lot more sloppy than whatever you had going on. But your genetic fat patterning or where you hold it makes people see it differently, man.
Yeah. I mean, what's amazing is because when I get to that sort of body fat level, you don't really see how much you're growing. You know, the delts aren't capped off, the vascularity isn't there. There's no real line. Like I have lines in my quads over time, but they're not deep by any means at this point. You know, the glutes are fat as hell, the back's fat. You got the biggest neck roll you can imagine. And then once you pull the body fat off, you're thinking, damn, like I've put on some good muscle in the last year, but I hadn't seen it for so long because the body fat was there. This obviously to go into where people hold body fat. Me and George hold it in completely different places. Other guys hold it uniquely perfect, as we know. It's one of the things you've got to take on the chin. It is what it is. But once you know where you hold it, the stress kind of goes away. Like, yeah, like I'm going to get fat on my hips. That's where it likes to go. I'm going to get fat on my chest. So it gives the illusion my chest is piss poor. Now the body fat's come up. People are like, oh, your chest is sick, man. Or like, where's your waist at, bro? You know, you get those sort of replies, things like that. And it's like, mate, it's just the waist was always there, but the body fat was just absolutely caking it at the time.
Can't help the cards you get dealt.
No, it is. Yeah. And if I was to get upset about it like I did years ago, then what's the point? Can't control it. Well, you can with adherence, simple as that. And how hard do you want to push the off season?
But to some extent, peak off season, it ain't going to look pretty. Obviously, it's going to be respectable, and it's on the spectrum still of being okay. But you're not going to get away from the fact that you're going to accrue some body fat in a place you probably don't want it to go.
Yeah,
is what it is.
But what kind of questions did you get? I know the question box wasn't up for long, but going to those.
So how to know? So Sam Ruby 98, two-parter. First part: how to know if you're training optimally when you only ever train alone.
My view on that is simply progression in your lifts are you, what, is it just progression in the gym, or are we talking about muscle gain as well?
How do you know if you're training optimally? So is he getting what he needs to out of his sessions? But he trains on his ones. So,
I mean, you can really dive into this, can't you? Like, if your program is scheduled like mine and George's training now, which is mesocycle based compared to how it was a long time ago, where it was failure every session, things like that. You know, are you progressing in the gym? First off, are you getting stronger? Are you getting better? Are you pushing yourself to be better? Are you logging everything? Are you taking advantage of certain variables? I train alone. George trains alone 90% of the time, and everything that we do is logged on an app called Heavy Set. Is one thing we recommend. Loads of people ask every time I put a screenshot of what it is. It gives all the data and more of what you need. Total volume. It even works out what your 1 rep max is, even though that means nothing to me and George, and I should be to everyone else, unless you're a powerlifter. If that's what you want to do, and do it. And it's all logged on there. I know last week that I did, say, 7 plates on a hack squat for 10. This week, I have to get 7 plates on a hack squat for at least 11. Or maybe 7 plates and a 2.5 on there for the same reps. Either equal it or better it. That's the aim. And if you match it, that's not a problem, because you may not have that adaptation that week, you know. Then you can go on to your food. Then you go into that side of things. Are you enhanced? Are you using performance enhancements? And this is where obviously you could dive in and,
so
you know, you pick it
one
apart.
thing to know if you're training optimally. So I think he's getting into how should training feel, how should it look, the X's and O's of, like, pull back the lens and look at him in a training session. Like, if we were to watch him train, would we say he's training optimally? So a few things I'm looking for. Are you, again, like from week to week, are you progressing on the lifts? Are you getting stronger? One of the main principles of you know, growing tissue, growing muscle is mechanical tension, progressively overloaded over time. Are you sat there for 20 minutes in between your sets on your phone? Or are you literally sat there timing your rest periods to whatever degree they're set by your coach? And if you're doing your training on your own and you're questioning whether you're training optimally, hire someone who knows what they're talking about, who can educate you and guide you into, you know, learning and understanding how to train properly. Are you taking your rest times? Is every set between the same movement looking uniform? So are you following tempos within your, you know, your specific training? Maybe on the hack squat, maybe you're doing 4-second negatives with a pause at the bottom, just for an example. Are you actually tracking that and making sure that they look the same set to set on the same movements? What else? It's not a case of saying, oh, do you feel it in the muscle? Because DOMs and stuff like that is quite a new, fresh thing. Like, you might get them first week back into training, but after that, they don't exist.
I can imagine, is the training like flip-flops? And what I mean by that is, are you just kind of throwing in an intensifier every now and then, like a drop set, where obviously the weight's going up and down? Are you doing, you know, pyramid sets, giant sets, supersets? Are you just throwing them in willy-nilly because you know it's what other guys are doing? It will work, but that's, if things aren't tracked, you're just going to see a spiral of all sorts going on. You know, you train hard and you're probably going to be pretty knackered if you're throwing all this stuff in. But having some ground base, like, is your workout written out? Like, I have 5 exercises to do, and I'm going to do maybe 3, 4, maybe 2 working sets per exercise. I'm going to stick to this rep range of, say, 10 to 12 reps, 10 to 15, 12 to 15, 15 to 20, whatever you're going to go with, maybe 8 to 10. Then, you know, are you looking deeper into your tempo of your movements? Like George has mentioned about, are you doing a 4-second negative? Are you doing 2 seconds on the way down, hold at the bottom for a second, and then coming back up for 2 again? Are you focusing that much? These are just variables you can take advantage of. Tempo is one of my biggest things that as I've tried to push strength, tempo will fade, and therefore it's becoming less optimal on paper. Because if I can't stick to the same tempo, I probably could have got that same weight with that lesser tempo the week before. But I got stronger. No, because it wasn't the same, was it? This is where it comes to, if you're going to use the word optimal just means 100%. And it's so hard because it's just attention to detail, and it can become a pain in the ass. Trust me, I know. I wasn't a fan of it when I first started. But once you see what comes of attention to detail and good practice, it's annoying how good it is. I'll be honest.
Consistency.
Which is the key word of all of physique development, right? Consistency. And people are going to hate, what is consistent? Yeah, I go gym 5 times a week. Yeah, that's not consistent, mate. That's because consistency as a touch, but it's not exactly perfect, is it?
Second part, then how to push yourself and get the most out of the session.
Boy, get your headphones on, get my playlist on, which has got fucking 6 hours of unbelievable bangers since I was 16. And you're going to just get it done. That's the first thing. Like, is your playlist. You may not be a guy who's really into music, but that's definitely one thing I'd get those headphones on and have a banging playlist ready to roll.
I'd argue, do you need some external driver to push yourself, right? I can train with music, I can train without music. I can train in a busy gym, I can train in an empty gym. I can train when I feel like shit and I can't be bothered, and I can train when I'm on top and I'm on cloud nine and I've got motivation pouring out my ear rolls. Doing the job and getting the job done does not apply to how you're feeling, what's going on around you, or anything else. All them external factors mean diddly squat. You've got your consistency in what we just spoke about with how you should be training optimally. Focus everything on that, and don't worry about how you're feeling outside the gym or whatever's going on else in your head. Yeah, sometimes them things, you know, having periods of low motivation do, you know, it's a bit shit, and it does happen from time to time. We can't all be, you know, on top of the world all the time. But you still just got to get the job done. It sounds really, really shitty answer from me.
No, it's I can dive into something after this.
Unemotion, just detach emotion from what you're doing. That's my biggest bit of advice for how to push yourself. The less emotional you think about training, the easier it is to go in there and tick the boxes and do what's necessary to progress.
Just to go, what's the question again?
How to push yourself and get the most out of the session. Take 4 scoops of pre.
There is that, you know.
Do not do that. Do not do that.
On the lead up, is your nutrition solid? Have you eaten enough through the day? Did you eat enough the day before? Is one thing that people don't seem to want to talk about. Oh yeah, but I had 3 meals before training, bro. That's not even really digesting yet. You know, you ate them 3 hours ago. Yeah. You know, we're talking about the day before. You know, you don't need to obviously carb load for session or something, but is your nutrition in play? Are you using pre-workouts? Do you know which ones are dosed correctly for you? Do you know which ones work best for you, which stimulate you the right way?
Sleep.
Yeah, how's your sleep going? Do you track your sleep? I don't personally track my sleep. I do it very loosely on making sure I get. So George, perfectly there, the aura ring. Joe, dive into that real quick to see what people want to think on that.
Well, it does tie into how to push yourself in your sessions. If you're having less than optimal sleep, you're not recovering from the session the day before or maybe the week before. Yeah, you know, you're lagging on recovery. You're then going to go in to your next session sub-optimally. You're going to go into it pre-fatigued, under-recovered, and not ready to go in there and beat your numbers. This little bad boy here is probably one of the best investments I ever made. It tracks every metric I could ever imagine. And the new one they just brought out tracks even more than what this one does. Everything from resting heart rate variability, heart rate during workouts, the new one does as well. Your sleep data, but to the degree of accuracy of your latency, like how quickly when you hit the pillow and you shut your eyes, how long does it take for you to be awake and actually then sleep? The percentage of deep sleep, REM sleep within your sleep cycle, duration of time in bed compared to how long you was actually asleep, and the efficiency of your sleep. So everything that you would need to know if you wanted, like you said, to be optimal within training, you've got to be optimal everywhere else. And if you want to get the most out of your session and push yourself, it ties back to being optimal in everything. So what you're doing in the gym needs to be optimal, but then everything else outside of the gym, like Al just said, nutrition, recovery, sleep, that all has to be optimal as well. That's how you get the most inside the gym.
Yeah. Giving yourself enough time as well is the simplest thing. Like, are you rushed for training that evening or that afternoon or something? That's one thing I have always done and said, and my girlfriend understands perfectly. I can't tell you how long I'm going to be in there. I know roughly because all my things are time, but I might be caught chatting or something or whatever. Like, I'm in there till I'm done. That I have a job to do. No exercise is cut short. I have a job to do, and that'll be ticked off. Some people are rushed for time. That's where your time management can become key, which is also going to help you with your nutrition time, in meal time, prep time, sleep time. These are obviously really minute, like attention to detail things, but they're all 1, 2, 3, 5% things, which add up to being obviously 100% optimal, right? But it's overall pushing yourself to get the most out of it. The more variables you take advantage of, the better you're going to be. And because what comes with that is peace of mind. The stress just goes from here to here because you're doing everything right. You have no stress going into it. You know what your numbers need to hit. Your nutrition's nailed, your supplementation's nailed, your performance enhancements are nailed if you're enhanced. Sleep's nailed. Everything's on track. And you should, technically speaking, have a great session. What else?
Provided you do everything me and I've just said for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, and I know it can seem like a lot to take in with some guys. Like, why can't I just come to the gym and get it done?
There's so many different variables that factor into this. Like how I started with the psychology of having a good session, and the physical factors that you went into of what makes the session optimal within recovery, food, training, everything. It should be optimal in every aspect. And if there's something you can't control, and there's something outside of the gym and that bubble and what ties into the gym, switch it off.
Yeah. That's definitely my biggest improvement over the last year working with Joe, is removing my emotion from the outside world to what's going on in my bodybuilding journey. I can honestly say one is over here and one is over here. Anything can go on over here. Relationship, work, money, stress, people pissing you off, car breaking down, anything. But bodybuilding is 100% every day, because all they are, every decision in bodybuilding or physique development is a conscious decision.
Yep.
Can you be asked to prep your meal? Can you be asked to go to gym? Can you be asked to log this? Can you be asked to do this? Can you be asked to go to the shop at 9 o'clock at night when you realize you ran out of something? Or have you got the ability to then go into macro track and do this? The more tools you have and the more things you take advantage of, the better the whole process is. And that comes into straight away peace of mind knowing you're doing everything right. Of course, there are coaches out there who can help you if you don't know, because there's a lot to take in if you have no idea what we're talking about. This is how we learn, and we are still learning. Get yourself an educator, get yourself a mentor. There's a million coaches out there. There will be one that can work with you, without a doubt. And if they can't, you may want to look in the mirror and realize you may have to want to apply yourself maybe a little bit more.
Next one. How did you make... So shout out Ryan Glennie. I'm getting ready for a photo shoot. He's the one I took him on 7 weeks out from a shoot, which was sketchy. That's a risky job, that. But yeah, no, I'm doing his trial peak week as well next week. So yeah. Go. But he asked, how did you make the jump from Gen Pop to more serious trainees? Tips on the transition. Content.
What, is this us coaching people?
Yeah, he's a PT. He's a PT and a coach himself.
Oh,
and he wants to move from Gen Pop to more serious trainees. So I'm guessing people that maybe even not necessarily bodybuilders, but hybrid, you could say, where they live and train like them.
I believe it comes within time. Because my own philosophy is the better athlete I become, the better I become as a competitor. My knowledge improves, therefore someone else's trust in my knowledge. Because when I'm at a certain level, I have the confidence to coach anyone below that level. Not necessarily above, because that's overstepping my boundary of where I'm at. So you need to bring yourself up more levels. You know, like you said, he's already a PT, right? Mm-hmm. So he's already got basic understanding. Obviously, I'm not trying to say he doesn't know anything, but he's already got understanding of this and this. He's getting the job done. So anyone below that
seasoned
want to go
as well.
Huh?
Seasoned.
Oh, he's a serious PT. That people are going to be drawn towards you because you're a leader as such. You put yourself here. Just keep taking yourself up, and eventually the more serious clients come, like what George did over the last year, hammered content on coaching, absolutely obliterated it. And now you can see where his success is growing with the clients he's getting, the attention he's getting, because he knows stuff other people don't.
And now I'm struggling to keep on top of my content because I'm too busy.
Yeah. So the more you level up, the better your clients are going to become. People might like your style, your attitude. But you just don't be a serial DMer asking to coach people. It will just come in time.
One of the things that I don't like about our industry, and it goes against everything that I suggest, but sadly, you and me both know that this is true. People like image. People want to be coached by someone who looks how they want to look, who they aspire to be. You've got to be the leader of the pack. You've got to have the look that someone's trying to achieve, or at least have from where I've come from, my avenue is trying to attain the knowledge to be able to coach these people. Mm-hmm. You kind of got to have both here, man. As much as we hate it, social media, that whole like marketing business side of it, image is kind of everything. And sadly, your image sells. And as much as I say, just because you look like you know your shit does not mean you know your shit.
But people are drawn towards it. For example,
it's attractive.
Now I've done my deficit and I'm now in shape. I have abs again, I have vascularity again. Coaching inquiries have doubled.
Yep.
Purely because of that. Because it looks good. I have people inquiring, sending me pictures of how I looked for 2019, maybe prep, like on a beach somewhere. This is what I want to look like. And like, it's you. It's like, because they want to look like you, right? Sometimes they might send me a picture of a celebrity or something like that. And you do have to give them a bit of a reality check sometimes. Be like, that physique is going to take a while. It may take a couple of years, you know. This guy may be enhanced. Who knows? Especially if you know if he's a competitor, if you know the person yourself, you'd be like, yeah, just so you know, this guy is enhanced. You may not be looking at achieving this physique without going down that route, but you will have your own version of this. Like I had a consult the other day, and the guy said, he says, "Oh, I want to look like you do, and achieve like your sort of physique." And I was like, "Just so you know, man, like I'm a very serious competitor. Just an example, I've just done the last 9 weeks in the deficit with no off plan, everything 100% every day. Everything is ticked off. There is no mistake made. Is that something that you could apply to yourself?" And he's like, he said, "I'll be like that." I was like, you have to give them a bit of reality with it. But overall, it comes down to the more you level up, the more your clients are going to. Just piece it together, like brick by brick, as Joe says. Just keep placing the brick.
Yep.
And eventually, you're going to have a big ass wall. Simple as that.
He's going the right way about it anyway. Like I said, he's getting the content. He's doing.
He's coached by you.
He's doing a photo shoot prep. That might help. That may help. Who knows?
Yeah, that's going to be definitely one.
But yeah, no, his photo shoot. He's going to have content from that. And
yes.
And he's going with is Eddie Whitehead.
I don't know.
That might not be the right name. He's the PCA photographer. So he's in the realm with someone who shoots with bodybuilders.
Yeah.
Let him guide you, man. What he knows what looks good.
Oh yeah. There's one thing. So for this photo shoot, a bit of advice for you. What I do is for a photo shoot, over the coming months, if I see a photo shoot of another athlete, and I might like the pose he's doing or something, or the way the image is, I'll save that to a folder. And then when I go to the shoot, I can scroll through the, because on the day, it can feel rushed on certain things. You know, you have a certain time slot. Photographers are very quick, you know, maybe, you know, not all are like it. But if you want to get 25 edited shots of your perfect picture, you need to know what sort of shots you want to do, what you're going to wear, what you want to achieve from, because you may come away and be like, fuck, I didn't do that one picture I wanted to do of this guy. Approach the photographer, say, I want to get this shot. Try it out. He may say to you, it's not going to look good for your physique, which happened to me. I tried my first photo shoot. Literally, the photographer played dress up with me. He dressed me like Maverick from Top Gun in one of them. He gave me a leather jacket in the aviators. You remember that, right?
I remember that.
I said to him, I said, I'm honest, mate. I said, I am way out of my comfort zone here. I said, I'm very happy to be
the Spartan. It was the Spartan.
This was not my idea. Just to clarify why I dressed in a Spartan outfit.
What was that? What was the piss take? There's the 300, which is the actual film, and is it I Am Spartan or something like that, or We Are Spartan? That was what you looked like.
It was the weirdest one was he got me to hold the sword like
that was
it. And I was like, that looks a little bit sketch, mate. And the final image, because he said he's putting together a portfolio, he said, when I get 300 athletes in the Spartan outfit, he's got a picture of all of them dead, obviously to represent the 300 Spartans that died in the movie. I was so depleted that day. I was like 2 weeks out. There's a thing as well. If you're competing, just do a photo shoot after your show. You don't really want to do it on the leader. I know you're going to be looking cool, but the tiredness, man. I'd hammered 50 minutes cardio before, did a 2-hour drive to the shoot. I only took one meal with me because I'm a bell end. And I was there for like 3 hours just getting dressed up. And I ended up, he dressed me in that outfit. Because one, I didn't want to do it. He was like, no, it's right. I was like, mate, you're going to have to put these shin pads on me, fucking elbow guards. The cape was sick, though. I'm not going to lie. Like, I felt pretty damn cool in a cape. I mean, if you don't feel cool in a cape, like dressing like a guy in a movie, then there's something wrong with it. But yeah, and just, yeah. And what's going to be sick, like what comes off from photo shoots is the content is what some people don't have. Again, putting yourself as another level above. You do a photo shoot, people love to see that because the photos are sick, edited to perfection. Hopefully you might get some raws as well, so you got more content. That's what's good to work with photographers who give you raws, because you'll probably get your 20, 25 images. Before you know it, they're all on social media. They're done. They're already used. It's spent. It's like currency. It's spent. So then you get the raws and you've got content floating for ages to put on maybe your website or your profile stuff. And for putting on Canva and content, and then people are going to like it and blah, 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 and then that's it drawing from there. But yeah, photo shoots sick. They do excite me because it's so fun because you're showing off your sick physique that you work towards. And it's a memory. You know, I've got all of them from my photo shoots, and it's just cool to look back on. He's a ha-ha, small guy.
So yeah, how did we make the jump from gym pop to more serious? I woke up every day with this idea in my head of I'll be real here, this is how I did it, was the coach I want to be. And I told myself I was that person already. And then I spent every day living my life the same way that person in my head would, how I imagined them. And just applied it. It sounds really, really weird saying that out loud, but that was the mentality. It was, that's what I want to be. I'm going to live like that now.
Mm-hmm.
It's that same saying of, if you want to be a pro, you got to live like a pro. Well, if you want to be a top coach and you want to work with these sort of people, live like one now, act like one now, behave the same way that one would, and eventually that'll transcend into.
Oh yes.
Do your research, put out content that applies to the people you're trying to attract, and yeah, just slug with it. Just don't get disheartened when it doesn't pick up, because it takes ages upon ages to get trajectory. And once momentum starts rolling, it starts pushing the boulder off the cliff. It then starts to spiral and get faster and faster. But you just got to keep pushing the boulder. So yeah, man, that's how I did it, I guess.
Maybe look into your marketing. We are by no means marketing geniuses at all. It's an avenue you are probably going to have to put money into as time goes on to help yourself put yourself out there, like Facebook ads, Instagram ads, things like that. That may be something to look into. Something that I will invest in. Will be a business coach at some point. Some people frown upon it, but it's business at the end of the day. And if you've only got 1,000 followers on Instagram, you're only reaching 1,000 people every time you put something out there. Something we have to both learn. That's why I'm not going to give any advice on it, because I need to, dive into that at some point. Because who's going to see it? Who looks at your Facebook? Who looks at your Instagram? Who looks at your Snapchat? Or your reels, or your the TikTok. I even jumped on TikTok, just to keep putting content out there. Just an extra. Someone might see it, and someone might want to come on board.
Yep.
Uses that.
Exactly. But yeah, guys, I think that's a wrap on this week's Breeze. What cream of rice you got?
Sticky toffee.
Oh, mate, yeah, good choice. Did you put it in the freezer though?
Yeah, definitely.
What happens to the flavour? Does it get better when it's colder, or does it lose flavour?
I only have it cold.
See, when I had it hot, I was a bit like, maybe that's not quite as sticky toffee as I wanted. I'm thinking maybe if I cool it down, it might. I'll have a little play.
Someone asked me. He said, "Why did you put it in the freezer?" And I was like, "To make it cold." Why else would you put something in the freezer? And I was just like, just to make it cold. Is there any benefit to having it cold? Yeah, I enjoy it more.
It's like cream of rice ice cream, isn't it? Slaps.
It bangs. It fucking bangs.
No, it's a good way to do cream of rice, man.
Cream of rice. You taught me that, I think, through the freezer.
I got it from Coach Kirkham before. I'm not taking credit for that. I got that from Kirkham. And I don't know where he got it from, but he probably got it from someone. But yeah, the frozen with the yogurt on top. Oh, unreal.
Yeah, I've gone off yogurt ever since my gone off yogurt incident earlier in the year. Be careful mixing whey with yogurt, because it will change the flavour from gone off to tasting banging, and you will eat 400 grams of it, and then you will suffer the next day, is what I say. That was so bad.
Oh, man.
But yeah,
on that note, we will wrap that one. Yeah, as always, guys, thank you very much for listening. Please do check out our sponsors at Complete Strength. Mine are now as individual sponsors, not the podcast, just to clarify that. And check us both out on Instagram, or hit up my YouTube channel. And obviously, the Bodybuilding Prospect is broadcasted on YouTube and Spotify.
The last one wasn't on Spotify, just so you know.
Is it not?
I checked today, it wasn't on there. The last one was our Lofthouse one.
Oh, apologies. I will get that one uploaded.
Yeah, you've just been busy.
I'm sure I did it.
Did I?
No, I'll have to check Anchor. I'll put it up on Anchor, and then Anchor broadcasts it out to different stations.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have a check on that one. But yeah, anyway, guys, peace.
See you later.